When I was a young draft resistor and refused induction, when I went into court, really convinced I would leave that court and go from that point into federal penitentiary, the government rose and moved to dismiss the charges. Not because they were in love with me, but because of the fact there were some technical errors they hoped to correct so the next time around they could succeed. But the result was I didn't go to prison in 1950. My friends did. Vernon Davison did. I have to say, and there are one or two people here who are in the Communist Party, and they will enjoy this. I had a discussion with Dorothy Healy and a couple of other key people in the Communist Party at that time. Vern was in jail out in Arizona, and I wrote Vern a letter and said if you wanted to further report on this, I would send it. I didn't hear from him for 2 weeks, so I wrote a much longer report on the internal meeting we had with the Communist Party leadership, which was at the same time as AJ was having the meetings here. I was having the meetings there on the West Coast. And then Vern wrote back to me, he said, David, you mustn't send me those letters. Your second letter arrived yesterday. Your first letter arrived today. They're both 2 weeks late. They had clearly gone to the FBI in Washington, and the sum total was that Vern spent an extra year in federal prison because, you notice that's true, because in my stupidity, I had not realized the danger of writing about these things, and so I didn't go to prison, but Vern served 2 years, not 1 year. So I moved in a community of people who all served prison time, and I'm one of those who very rarely did. And one of the things that touched me on the few occasions I was there, I think of some memories. I think of the time I was in the Tombs on civil defense drill, and there was a young hoodlum in my cell with me, and he talked longingly about how he and his buddy Viz in the Bronx had come down every weekend, all the way from the Bronx to the bars in the village. This is the days when the village was exciting. When it was the days, no, it was once exciting. You had the hippies, and it was really going. And they had come down because he said they wanted to meet people who knew how words worked. What can you say? To meet people who knew how words worked. Of course, they never met anyone. The two of them sat in the bar all night and then went back to the Bronx. I thought of the young man in the Tombs on another arrest situation, a young Hispanic who came up to me because he knew that I didn't belong there, I didn't fit. And there were several of us who simply didn't fit. We'd been arrested on a political charge. We didn't fit the usual way. And I was the closest thing he could find to a priest. And he came up to me and said, absolutely seriously, he said, he faced a long term. He had committed a major felony. He was facing a number of years in the penitentiary. And he said that I think it was a mortal sin to masturbate. Now, there are two things from this. One is I have real problems with the church that teaches anyone that masturbation is a mortal sin. But more important, I thought, what a tragedy that this guy is coming to me for advice on this because he doesn't know where else to go. And I realized that those of us who are political had a role on the times we were in jail or in prison, often in helping other people. I'm reminded tonight that there are more than 2 million people in the jails and prisons in this country. And we're silent about that. I don't mean you are, but I mean our society as a whole is silent about that. They don't have votes. Most of them are poor. Doesn't matter. They're not organized. They can't get bail. And most of them are going to come out and probably going to commit crimes again because unemployment is high. And that leads me to think of a line from one of my favorite poets, Bertolt Brecht, who was a devoted communist and didn't share my political views, but he wrote a poem called To Posterity, when he said, "He who laughs has not yet heard the terrible tidings.